There are a few celebrities that have been as copied and as attempts have been made to rip them off as Bob Marley has. So Mutual Security, the administrator, negotiated a sale of the music assets, and in fact, all the assets of the estate, including Bob's name and likeness, the Tough Gong studio, some real estate, the property that is now the Bob Marley Museum, all of those assets. And they sold them, negotiated a sale as a package to Island Records for 8.2 million US plus some Jamaican dollars. And the real question at the time, and I'll say that the administrators did get professional advice that the value of those assets, those music assets, was likely to decline by having died. So we're talking about mid-1980s, 1986, 1987, that those years. And the thinking then was that the value of the estate would decline, and that the administrators should try and get the best price they could at the time. And a number of the children were at the time underage. And so there was also a concern of protecting their legacy and getting some money to put in trust for them. So the administrators, as I said, negotiated a sale to Island Records. The Rita Marley, Bob's widow, and all children, all 11 children, joined in opposing that sale, because the administrator, you asked who initiated the process. The administrator, as is required under law, brought an application to the court for the court to approve the sale, named all the beneficiaries as respondents to the claim, and they all opposed it. They all took the view that a better price should be had. The Supreme Court approved the sale over the objections of the beneficiaries, primarily out of concern for the infants, for the underage children, and the Court of Appeal upheld that decision. The beneficiaries appealed to the Privy Council, and in 1990, I think it was, the Privy Council allowed our appeal, set aside the sale, and directed the administrator to start over, advertise more widely, try to get a better price. The administrator did that, advertised again, and this time the higher price was offered by, I think it was MCA Records, a company that offered a price which would have resulted in each beneficiary getting $1 million US, approximately. And those terms, again, the administrator came to court to seek approval. By that time, though, the family and Island Records, Mr. Blackwell, had come together to try to find a creative way for the family to acquire the assets. And as you may appreciate, the family members didn't have the cash to match an offer like that. But those who were adults were quite prepared to waive any claim to the cash in order to have an interest in their in Bob's music assets. And we devised a way to protect the infants by putting up enough cash, really through Island Records, so that each of the infants could get a guarantee of the $1 million that they would have gotten from the other sale upon their becoming of age, becoming 18 years old. And the others would waive any share of the purchase price in exchange for getting a share of the assets. We put together an alternative proposal in those terms. And for completeness, I should tell you that the family members who were then adults, agreed that each of the infants, when they came of age, would have the option of either accepting their $1 million plus interest or getting an equal share in the assets, so that the infants would have that option. Put together that package, the administrator chose to accept and support the offer that it had negotiated with that foreign company. And the matter again, therefore, had to go back to court. Contested hearing this time before Mr. Justice Walker, as he then was. He later became a judge of the Court of Appeal. And I'm happy to say that Justice Walker approved the family's position, approved a sale to that, what I call a joint venture between the family and Mr. Blackwell's Island Records. And the rest is history. The assets got transferred to a group of companies that the family arranged. And I can tell you that their decision and Justice Walker's decision proved ultimately to be the right one, because the earnings have far exceeded what they would have received under those sales. It was probably over a 7-year period all of this happened. Those sales, more than that, those sales got completed, I think, in 94, 95. And that's why the Marley family owns those assets today.
And how are the assets doing now, you know?
Well, if I go by Billboard, Bob Marley's music is selling as well as ever. It's among the past, the deceased celebrities. Bob Marley continues to be one of the top performers. And I'll tell you something else that was important to the family then, and is important now. Quite apart from just the question of the financial benefit. I mentioned earlier that the sale included likeness, image and likeness rights. So the right to use Bob's name and image in advertising, for example, promoting products. That was also part of the sale. And the family was very concerned that a sale to an external commercial entity whose only concern would be to get as much financial return as they could, would mean that his name and image and likeness and so on would be used in ways that he would never have approved and they would never approve. So that it's been of great importance to the family that they have the power to control that and to decide what to approve and what not to approve. And that's why I said, so there's a lot of litigation that is not within the family. Because one of the things that the family then had to do is to protect the assets. And there are few celebrities that have been as copied and as attempts have been made to rip them off as Bob Marley has. So around the world, people have pirated the music, pirated the name and likeness and so on. And so there's been a lot of litigation to try and stop that and to protect those assets. So, lot of litigation. My favorite Bob Marley song is Redemption Song. And I'll add that Bob Marley is famous for and highly regarded for many things. His singing, his performing and so on. But to me, his number one strength and the one that means the most to me was his writing. And the lyrics of a song like Redemption Song, I just always found very inspirational. Not criticizing his performing and all those other strengths, but to me, the songwriting